Hi everyone, another video, and I'm going to explain, I hope, what's going on here. This is Phobos, and Phobos is a total mystery. They say it is basically a moon, but it's a bit odd because it orbits a little bit too low and it's a little bit too light, and well, there are other mysteries as well. For starters, I showed in the last video that it has zero impact craters. These are not impact craters, these are just bubbles in the rock when it was formed, or volcanoes, I think, more likely to be bubbles. Not even sure. They've said this is electrical scarring, I'm not sure about that. I think these could be, these are just more bubbles. This is some kind of volcanism, and it's been twisted around. Now, what's going on here is, this is a comet. And people are not going to say it's a comet, but it's a comet. It's the same. It's very light, as a comet is, and it's very dark, as a comet is. It could have some kind of oil around it, residue, carbon. It's basically from inside a planet, and this is where comets come from. They don't talk about this, and there's two theories. One of them is that two credible theories. One of them is that all comets are from an exploded comet, because if they were left over from the foundation of the solar system, there would be none left. You know, after 4 billion years there would be none left. So something's happened recently to create comets, and I'm going to say this basically came out of a catastrophic event on Mars related to Olympus Mons. What happened was, we have the biggest volcano in the world on Mars, and but in the solar system, which is located on Mars, and then we just happen to have this huge, it looks like a piece of basalt, but it's light, more like pumice, but all this has been filled in. It's been filled in by real impacts. Real impacts. Okay, let's see. Now, the Ring of Fire, our own moon, might have sheared off the Earth, and it probably sheared off from here. And if we include Australia in this, it's a huge hexagon, a basalt pattern. This would have been a supervolcano which annealed, and its sides annealed into a basalt pattern, and the moon sheared off here. Basically, possibly an early explosion of the plasma, inside the plasma of early Earth. They say it could have been a collision. Hey, we don't know. We don't know. And this is how the moon craters are really created. This is volcanic rock, vesicular basalt, and if you look at all this stuff, it's the same. It's hexagonal patterns, just like on the moon. I've shown this in the last couple of videos. All the evidence is here, and what's happened is, it's come out rough. The moon's come out rough, Phobos has come out rough as a rough piece of pumice, and what's happened is it's smoothed over. It's just been smoothed over by real impacts. Real impacts have chipped away the sides of this, have smacked into this at different angles, and they've created moon dust, which has filled up these craters, which is the stuff the astronauts were kicking up. And that's how the moon was formed. The moon was initially very rough, just as Phobos is today, very rough. And as I pointed out in the last video, again, these are real. This is what impacts really look like. And the geologists, if there's any geologists listening, you guys should say something about this, you know, speak up. And this is something I've noticed on Mars. It looks like the same thing. There would have been a huge supervolcano here, maybe even a proto-supervolcano occupying half the planet, and something has split off from there. Don't know what. Possibly Mercury, because Mercury seems to be a twin of Mars, even though it's in the wrong place. That's a tricky one. And then the sides have annealed into a basalt hexagonal pattern like you see at Giant's Causeway. And that's Olympus Mons on Mars, so Phobos isn't that big. So could this caldera, this supervolcano caldera on Mars, have exploded? Basically Mars has exploded, and a bit of Mars has flown off to create those two moons of Mars. And is this where comets come from? I'm thinking, see, that's another thing. This is a moon of Saturn Mimas, and as I explained it, that's a volcano. There's no impact here at all. That's what a volcano looks like, and that's Olympus Mons. Again, Olympus Mons, it's so huge. I think something was ejected into space, possibly those 2 moons. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and leave a comment.